Is there anything else? It used to bother me when people told me I was not beautiful because I was brown. And as an adult, FYI, the winter makes me feel less appealing because it makes me feel very far away from the nature of my skin. And in the summer, I just have this glow. I realized that I used to be really uncomfortable with compliments, like really awkward, super awkward.
Okay.
I was in this line to get a salad. My best friend was next to me, and she's stunning. And I was getting a salad, and the salad guy, I was making my order, and the salad guy couldn't talk. And he didn't even compliment me out loud, but it was a nice compliment that he appeared dumbstruck. And my best friend was like, oh my gosh, he can't even tell that I'm here. But when I say I'm uncomfortable with a compliment, or like when someone notices me or pays attention to me, I was mortified. I was like embarrassed for that guy. I was embarrassed for me. I no longer wanted to eat the salad. I didn't want to walk in front of the store. I was like, I can't do this. Because it took me a long time to realize that I was beautiful, and not to look for approval or co-signers in people I date or friends or family who think I should be one way or another. And all women feel this way. And we shouldn't. We're enough. We're enough. We're perfect as is. We don't have to do anything with it. We can. So when I was younger, I saw that beautiful people were seen, but nobody wanted to hear what they had to say. And I really had a problem with that. Mm-hmm. So I rejected it very early on and almost very consciously, like, instead of being pretty, I'm gonna be smart. Not knowing, because I wasn't as smart as I wanted to be then. Wisdom is something you get when you get this gray stuff. That you can be both. You can be all the things you want to be. You don't have to be limited. And other people don't have to define you or what you consider beautiful. And so the same best friend, she is one person who really had me understand and realize that I'm not seeing myself accurately. I don't see myself the way the world does. And I had a way harsher tone and a way harsher delivery with myself than anyone else ever had. I would hear people criticize me when they were complimenting me. She always jokes about the fact that I would, someone would say something nice and I'd be saying, did you just call me fat? And she'd be saying, literally, he just gave you a compliment, or I just said something nice, and I was joking about it, but it was indicative of how I felt inside, years ago. The whole time, I was beautiful, but I didn't understand it. I didn't own it. I didn't become it for myself until later. And sometimes it takes another person, another woman, another friend, another sister, to recognize that in you and bring it out differently than men do. Because it's neutral. It's not charged with anything extra. Sometimes I wouldn't always trust when men said it to me because I wasn't really sure what's the purpose of this, or, So I think never centering myself on my beauty was it was my version of feeling safe and almost like building a wall between me and people. Like, if you don't see me, I can go do whatever I want and, stay under the radar. But I challenge everybody to, one, recognize it in others, and when you recognize it, point it out. The compliments you have inside of you die inside you if you never say it out loud. And what is the point? You have no idea what people are struggling with, and whatever decent, kind thing you have to say might just get them through that particular day, which matters. And to define for yourself what being beautiful is, for me, it's not being shiny. It doesn't mean what people think it does. It means whatever you say it is. For me, it is really being comfortable in my skin. The more comfortable I became, the more lovely I felt. And it didn't always feel that way. So, here I was way back when ascribing to beauty being, when you're Filipina, it's being skinny with straight hair and having light skin. white skin. When I was young, I intuitively fought that because I thought it was garbage. I think the most beautiful women in my country are made the way the country intends us to be made. We are short, we are lovely, we are brown, we have, full hair, and all of us, even the ones that are the standard beauty where we come from, are lovely. And I think when we define it rigidly, it allows people to control us. It allows them to control what we eat, even when they're not around. It allows us to then police ourselves, right? Like when you're little, they don't want you to be in the sun having fun. Forget that. I went outside. When I was little, I went back to the Philippines and they were saying, oh my gosh, you used to be so beautiful. You were so light-skinned when you were a baby, and now you're like black. I got so pissed. But I told them, I said, it's funny. They pay a lot of money in America to look like me. They pay a lot of money. They lay in these rooms and they turn themselves brown to look like me. And it took that person aback. I remember that, that was a woman who couldn't understand for the life of her, Americans wanting to be tan. Well, most people don't understand the colonized background behind it. Yeah. So the reason why brown skin is appealing to people of European descent or American descent is that because their countries are typically cold, when you have brown skin, it means you can afford to travel.
Yeah.
And so you go and you travel, and then you come back, and it was like a status thing to be able to afford the leisure of that life. But people don't understand. So Filipinos, the reason why light skin is nice is because it means you didn't work in the sun. It means you had the money and the luxury to stay inside. So that's not what you don't have. It's someone decided that being wealthy looked a certain way, and it looked the way that you would have to work very hard to fight your genetics, right? Because Filipinos are typically brown, but if they did have the money to stay inside, then they could almost hide that, right? They could distinguish themselves. They could look more mestizo. They could look more mixed, more European. So if people got that the root of why we need to look that way had nothing to do with us as a people and had everything to do with attempting to be westernized, perhaps they'd reject it themselves. But as a kid, I had to reject it myself. And I think that person I was standing in front of was floored that even if she didn't think I was pretty, I did. And if she didn't think I was pretty, well, all of America loved my skin. And she had to deal with herself like, oh, if they like your skin, though, then maybe I'm wrong about beauty. Yes, you are. I'm lovely. Thank you. And that's not to say I don't have my days and I don't deal with my own insecurities, but as women, I invite you all to lift everybody up and do it based way more on the content of who they are and how lovely and enough they already are. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It can be both.